And I just love this image because it has that victory pose that we use so much in yoga, and getting the endorphins going, and the fact that the person has climbed to the top of the mountains and like is kind of near the beginning of the universe, in terms of what we're aspiring to. I just thought that was a really nice visual, so I just put that there. All right, so let's get started then. So we'll begin by just centering, and I invite you to sit in an easy seat or whatever works well for you in terms of being comfortable. We will be lying down in a little while, but whatever's good for you. And you can gently settle in and allow the eyes to flutter closed if that works for you. And allow the hands to rest on the lap any way that feels comfortable. And we'll just begin together by noticing our breath without changing anything. So just the eyes closed, the hands relaxed, observing the breath as it comes in and out of the body. And begin to notice the energy as you breathe in and out. Can you sense that as you inhale, this is bringing you closer to the connection to the earth and the support, the earth holding you up? And then as you exhale, can you envision the energy reaching up towards the sky, connecting you to the entire universe? So the energy is coming down into the body, grounding you. And then the exhalation is bringing everything up and out and connecting you to the universe. So the vayus, the direction of the energy as it comes in and out of the body, connects us in various ways to the space that we're inhabiting. And the upward and downward motions are very powerful. So breathing in, feeling centered and grounded, and exhaling, aligning the spine, lengthening so that the posture is strong, relaxing the shoulders. And slowly begin to deepen the breath, sensing the prana, the life force, filling the belly, circulating the nourishment through the body. And as you exhale, gently pressing the belly button towards the spine. Really being present in this moment. Setting aside anything at the moment that will not serve you in this practice, knowing that it will be there when you come back to it, but making space now for self-care, for focus, and for exploration. So one more deep breath in, and I invite you to bring the arms up over the head, touching the palms above the head, above the crown, and then exhaling, coming into the heart. Inhaling out into a T, opening the arms up, opening that heart center, and then exhaling as you round into yourself, giving yourself a hug. And then inhaling out again into a T, big breath in, filling up, and rounding again, other arm over the body in the front. And then biggest breath of the morning so far, up to the sky. Exhaling out with a sigh if you'd like. And just sitting for 3 breaths as you feel the energy shift. Feeling the support of the earth. Feeling the energy of the universe. And when you feel complete and ready, I invite you to relax the hands down, gently open the eyes. And hopefully you feel ready to start this practice. All right, anybody have any comments or questions before we move on? Good, okay, so this is a picture of what we call the interconnected human. And this is the part of yoga therapy that really attracted me, because I have been trained in trauma-informed yoga. I've done a lot of other certifications, but this really was fascinating to me, and it's really an amazing tool. So you may or may not be aware of the word kosha, but it means a sheath. And there are 5 sheaths that make up the integrated person. So there's the physical body called the annamaya kosha. There's the vital or energy body called the pranamaya kosha, and that has the word prana in it. There's the manomaya kosha, which is the mental and emotional body. And then there's the Vijnanamaya kosha, the wisdom body, and the Anandamaya kosha, the bliss body. We're going to be focusing on the first 3 today. And basically what the idea is that we're interconnected. And as yogis, we know that the mind, body, breath connection is very powerful. And by using the breath to tap into the body, by becoming aware of the physical sensations in the body, and by being able to identify emotions and how we're feeling, the idea is to see where these emotions are landing, how they're impacting the physical body, how we can use the breath and other yoga tools to help heal. And it's really, really effective and really powerful. And there's so many layers, and they use the 8 limbs of yoga. So it's not just the asana or the prana, it's all the different, ahimsa, nonviolence, awareness of how to move through the world with kindness. How do you reach out to others? How do you accept what others offer? It's like a myriad of amazing aspects to this. So what I'm focusing on today is self-care, relaxation, and tapping in to see if you can find some aspect of your authentic self, which we've all been doing on our journey already, but it's just an interesting way to look at it from these different koshas. So that's what that is. And these all represent the koshas, and they align a little bit with the chakras. And I love the chakras, and I think that working with them is just amazing. And I know that Lindsay knows a lot about chakras, and this works with it. Also, you can bring it in as much as you want or leave it out, however you want to do it. There's so many tools that it's, you could talk about it for like 90 years and still have more to say. So it's just awesome. I'm just going to share this just for a moment. There's a lot of words here, but just looking at the Annamaya Kosha for a moment from the Western perspective, and this definitely divides the Eastern and the Western, which is the allopathic view. And that's also what's really amazing to me about it, because the spiritual aspects and all of the practices that were done, thousands of years ago, the Yoga Sutras, all of those things factor in. But from the allopathic view, it includes the anatomical structures and the physiological processes. So what we do is we look at a person, we give them not a real diagnosis, but we create wellness objectives together based on intakes and, how is the person feeling? What are they experiencing physically in the body? And we're going to do a body scan activity soon, and you'll get a sense of that. I didn't mean to do that. Let's see. Yeah. The pranamaya kosha breath is what brought me to yoga. That's what really moved me to understand how powerful and healing this practice is. But the pranamaya kosha also includes circulation. So the blood, the chakras, because those are energy wheels, and the connection to whatever comes into the body that brings energy. So nutrition. So we're allowed to talk about, not in a dietitian sort of way, but, how is your lifestyle impacting your physical body? How do you feel emotionally if you eat too much sugar? Like just observations and then clarifications, and then we make wellness objectives. So, also people, like if you're with people whose negative energy is bringing you down and causing you to have headaches and, impacting your breath because you get so stressed, well, let's talk about maybe we need to move some of those energies away from us, So it's learning how to protect yourself, learning how to understand your own responses in all of these different koshas. And then the Manomaya kosha is the psycho-emotional body, which includes the mind and the emotions. And it also has to do with our habitual patterns and also our core belief system. So that's really cool. And that's why I wanted to like do some authentic self search today to kind of check in with that. And then there are these other ones, which is the higher mind, the wisdom body, and then the bliss body, which is used through meditation to ascend. And it has a lot to do with our essential nature and moving the distractions out of the way. And it's a, it's a process, as you all know, because you're all part of it. So are there any questions about that? No? Okay. Don't you love that picture? Like, I want to be there right now. It kind of looks like a place I've been to in La Jolla, California. I went to a restaurant and it kind of had that view and it was so pretty. So I really needed that for the view and the sun and the comfort. So I am going to ask you in a moment to get your pencils, your markers, whatever, and have it with a piece of paper next to you. This is not the art project, but it is a writing relationship to what we'll be doing. And obviously you have your space where you are, and we'll be doing a body scan through the physical body, the emotional body, and the pranic body. And after each one, I'm going to ask you to do a little bit of drawing or writing. So we'll be closing out each level and doing a little bit of reflection and then going back again. So you'll be lying down if you're comfortable with that. That's the best and most effective way. And then we'll be, sitting up to do the writing or drawing, and then you'll lay back down again, and we'll be doing that. Any questions yet? Okay. So we're doing a body scan now, and you've done these before, but probably not quite like this, although you might have. We'll see. You'll let me know, because we've all been through a lot of different trainings. So I invite you to get comfortable. We'll be here for a little while. You can put blankets under your knees or a pillow under your head or whatever is comfortable. And you can lie down and again, begin to notice the breath. Begin to allow the body to relax, to let any tension be released anywhere. And we'll be doing that a little more in a focused way in a few minutes, but just really, really get comfortable. And I'm going to ask you to notice how the body feels as it is supported by your mat. Can you start to pay attention starting at the feet and moving your way up, where the surface of your mat is in contact with the body and where there are spaces that are a result of how you're lying down or of the natural curvature of your body contours. So just to really start to focus in on the physical body, can you notice what part of the foot is in contact with the mat? And the lower leg, both left and right, in contact with the mat. And if you need to shift at any time, please just stay comfortable. Upper legs, where is their contact with the mat? The entire legs, all the way down to the feet, can you notice the spaces that are not in contact with the mat? Coming up through the sacrum and the lower back, there are some natural curvatures there. Can you notice the difference between where you're touching and where you're not? Middle back and upper back. Shoulders and arms and hands. Back of the neck and back of the head. And begin to really check in with the body so that you can begin to trace the contour of your entire body, as though you were doing a chalk drawing of yourself on the blacktop somewhere. Can you feel the edges of your body and notice how that would look if you drew around your body and made that sort of silhouette. Trying to notice where your physical body ends and where the space that you inhabit begins. Also noticing the inner body. Are you aware of any sensations? Maybe the digestive tract, maybe the heart center, maybe the diaphragm. Maybe there's something going on in the neck or the head inside, aware of some pressure in the ears perhaps, or the sinuses. Just checking in with how does your physical body feel right now. And I'm just going to bring you down through the body from the top of the head by giving prompts. And what I'm inviting you to do now is to pay attention to what feels comfortable and relaxed. And if you also notice if there are areas that may be less comfortable and less relaxed. So just noticing and checking in. And then we'll be doing a little bit of drawing about this in a few minutes. So let's take a deep cleansing breath in together through the nose. And then exhaling everything out through the mouth. And beginning at the top of the head, I will prompt you and just simply notice how those physical places are feeling. The top of the head, the entire face, the back of the head, the neck and the throat, the front of the torso, including the heart center, the belly, the back of the torso, upper back, middle back, lower back, coming down to the hips, the sacrum, the pelvis, the fronts of the legs, all the way down to the ankles, the backs of the legs, all the way down to the heels, the feet, the shoulders and the arms, the hands and the fingers. Just checking in with the physical sensations of the body. And once you've acknowledged what is available to you, and it's possible there might be things that you are not able to access, and that's also fine and expected, I invite you to hug your knees into your chest to give yourself the support and the love that you deserve from yourself, and gently make 3 circles around to one side to connect the lower back again to the floor, and then to the left. Feeling yourself holding on to the physical body. And when you feel complete, you can roll over onto one side, and in your own time, find your way up so that we can start the process of drawing and writing a little bit about this experience. So what I'm going to ask you to do is to pick a color that will represent the outline of the body that you're going to draw, and then pick a color that will represent the physical aspects of your body, if you're able to. If you don't have enough colors, you can just label it. So you're going to just draw like I use the Pillsbury Doughboy, but everyone laughs at me when I say that, but you're just going to make like the outline of a body as big as you can fit it on the paper. So just, the contour of a body that represents you. And when you've completed that, what I'm asking you to do now is to take your physical body color and think about what you experienced when you just went through this body scan. And take a moment to either draw a little circle or a little asterisk, or you write a word, noticing where there was comfort and relaxation in the physical body. And if there was discomfort or anything other than relaxation, you're making a note on there with this color on the outline or inside. If you had like something that you noticed in the stomach, you can put a little asterisk or write down what it was, discomfort or feeling full or whatever it is. So if you need words, also you can use words. And if you have a question mark, like if there's a place you really had no access to, like I cannot access my pelvic floor no matter what anyone tells me, like there's just no way. I know that's an area I need to work on. Like you can also notice something like that. Because that also reveals something. And when you're done, you can just give me a thumbs up. Good. All right, so now we're going to do the same when you're ready, and we're going to tap into the energy body. So a similar type of an exercise, but with a little bit of a different focus, connecting it to that physical body. So I invite you to lay back down again. Getting comfortable. It's good to do the same position only in the sense that you're trying to compare, but if you feel like you need to change positions, that's also okay. So coming back to that position of feeling supported, of feeling comfortable, closing the eyes. This time we'll focus in on the breath. So just noticing without changing anything for the moment. Noticing the temperature as the air enters the nostrils. Maybe there's a texture to it. Does it feel rough? Does it feel smooth? How is it feeling as you exhale? And you can breathe out through the nose or the mouth, whatever you're more comfortable with. And begin to notice where you feel the breath lands when you're just breathing regularly. Are you a shallow breather? Is it basically stopping at the bottom of the chest area? Do you need to focus to bring it down to the belly? Or is that your natural way of breathing? And notice how the breath nourishes the body when you start to pay attention to it. Notice how it can relax the physical body and relax the mental body by focusing simply on that in and out, by tapping into the parasympathetic nervous system, slowing down that fight or flight. So just notice if that is accessible to you. Can you sense a bit of a shift by focusing on the breath, and perhaps even deepening it now by counting for 3 in your own way as you breathe in, and then the equal breath out for 3. And are you able to pay attention to where this breath might be having an impact? Can you send this breath to the areas that you identified on your drawing of discomfort, if there was any, of stress, if there was any, of tension in the muscles, if there was any? Begin to notice how the breath can be sent to relax those places. And can you notice if there is some sort of connection or maybe disconnection to certain places in the body? Can you notice if breathing in and out a little more deeply can have an impact either in supporting you or releasing tension in some of those places? And begin to focus now on the place that stood out to you most when you were doing the physical body scan. Whether it was a positive sensation or something that needed release, begin to bring your attention to that space in the physical body and actively connect to that space with the breath. And notice if anything happens. And again, it might not. It takes practice. And again, I'll bring you through a body scan, paying attention now to the circulation, the sense of energy going through the body. The chakras are wheels of energy that align from the top of the head down to the root. So noticing the feelings of energy starting at the feet, coming up the legs, coming to the root chakra, our sense of safety, our sense of connection to the earth. Paying attention to the energy in that area. Is it high energy? Is it low energy? Would you like to have more connection there? Coming up, we're going to move our way up the body, the sacral chakra, and continuing up to the orange color, and moving our way up to the heart chakra, which is green, the throat chakra, the bluish color. Light is also energy, vibration. Coming up to the third eye, which is the indigo, and all the way to the crown of the head, which is the bright light that surrounds us. Just checking in with all those areas. Checking in with your overall energetic level right now. Letting the breath relax back to its normal pace. And when you're ready, you can take a big stretch over the head so that you're allowing the energy to circulate, wake you up as though you just had a lovely nap. And then again, when you feel complete, you can roll over onto one side and come up to sit to continue the drawing process. Taking your time. So a lot of people really identify with the solar plexus chakra, the orange. And the yellow areas all around the belly, because that's where we hold a lot of stress. That's where we hold our breath. So that's a really strong chakra when it comes to the prana. Like I notice that if I'm stressed out, I realize I'm holding my breath, or I realize I'm tensing up that area in my body. So just allowing the breath to flow in and releasing that has a huge effect. So what I'm going to ask you to do now is on that piece of paper, take another color that will represent the energetic body and do the same thing. Notice areas that were flowing smoothly. Notice areas that you felt you needed to send the breath to release a little bit of the energy flow if there were blockages. Notice anything in the chakras. I didn't go into a lot of detail with that, but I just wanted to point them out as we moved up the body. You might be noticing some connections of the physical and the prana in terms of areas that you were aware of. You might not, but often people notice. It can also be different on different days, but if you do it enough, you start to see real patterns. And when you're done with that, just give me a thumbs up and we'll do the final part of this scan. No rush. Yay, Tracy. All right, Lindsay, awesome. So one final time, we'll lie down, we'll get comfortable again. And this will bring us full circle. So we'll start to notice the Manamaya Kosha, which is the emotional body, which is the area that a lot of people struggle with a little bit, to identify emotions, to name them, to really feel them, and to see where they are in the body. So I ask you to settle in again, get comfortable, feel the support of the mat, which is connected to the support of the earth, releasing any excess tension or anything that might still be swirling around. And I'm going to ask you now to check in this moment what you might be feeling in terms of emotions. There's a whole array of them. There's many, many, many that are very obvious, and then there are some that we might not really be able to identify. We'll be looking at a chart later for naming those emotions. So how are you feeling right now? It can be more than one. And if you've identified an emotion or a feeling, can you see where it might be in the body? Is it having an effect on the breath? Is it having an effect on the physical body? And now I'm going to ask you to connect to some emotion that was very powerful sometime in the past week that had a negative impact possibly on the body and on the breath. Can you bring yourself just for a few minutes to that place? Did you experience frustration, anger, exhaustion, stress, which is overriding for everybody? Can you notice how thinking about and tapping into that affects the body and the breath? You can use visualization to make this an even deeper experience by going back through whatever was happening in your mind's eye, putting yourself in that place. And just briefly notice if there's any shift. And when you're ready, bring yourself back to the present moment. Bring yourself back to a deepening of the breath. Bring yourself back to a sense of relaxation in the body because of the release of the stress. And begin to focus on a positive emotion that makes you feel good. And maybe that's what you're experiencing now, or you can bring another one into the mind's eye. Happiness, joy, feelings of accomplishment, kindness. Focus in on one of those and have a visualization experience with that and see what happens with the breath. See where that shows up in the physical body. And finally, just acknowledging what you are experiencing. When you first laid down, is that still the same or did that change? And just noticing your overall sense of self as you focus on the feet, the legs, the pelvis and the hips, the torso, the front and the back, the hands and the arms and the shoulders, the throat, the back of the neck, and the head. Checking in with the whole self now, physically, energetically, and emotionally. And from here, when you're ready, I invite you to come into a fetal position, allowing yourself to come into that very first position we were ever in when we were just coming to be. And just lie on one side, experiencing all of you. And when you feel complete from this part of the practice, I invite you to come up to a seated position slowly and carefully, and we'll do the final part of the drawing on this contour. So now you'll choose your last color. And what I'm going to ask you to do is identify how you were feeling when you came to the mat and where that lived, and then any of the other emotions that you visualize with my prompts. Could you notice where those were in the body, even if it was something that you brought up because I asked you to? And then I put the journaling prompt on the screen. We can just talk about them since we're a really small group. If you wish to write, that's fine too. But the idea is to integrate all of this, to have an understanding. What did you notice about the sensations in your physical body, your energy body, your emotional body? Were you aware of any connections between the three? Were there any disconnects, like places you could not access? And then is there an area, or are there areas you'd like to focus on during the practice? If so, then when we're doing the asana, I can give you some tips on how to be aware of the energy and the movement in those poses. And is there an intention that came up for you because of this first practice? So you can spend a few minutes writing, and then we can share if you'd like. And then we'll take a little break and then move on to the next part of the workshop.